A federal judge has now put in writing an order blocking what he calls an unlawful effort by the Trump administration to target gender-affirming care for young people with gender dysphoria. A group of 22 states won the case in Oregon federal court without having to go to trial after the judge ruled that the law was clear enough to decide in their favor. The lawsuit, led by Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield, challenged a December declaration from Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That declaration claimed that certain gender-affirming care for minors was unsafe and ineffective, and warned that providers could lose Medicare and Medicaid funding if they gave that care. Rayfield and attorneys from the 21 other states argued that the federal government did not have the legal authority to make that threat and that they failed to follow required procedures. The judge's written opinion now blocks those funding threats. In the judge's decision, he writes, quote, "Here, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., unlawfully issued a declaration threatening to cut federal funding to medical providers who provided gender-affirming care to minors. It is not yet clear if the administration plans to appeal."